Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. How are you today, everyone? I hope that you are doing well. So, I'm Carmila Indah Kasanahuda. As the last presenter, I would like to explain you about the problem-based instruction. Here, I have 5 contents to be discussed. The first is introduction. The second is the characteristic of problem-based instruction. The third is the framework. The fourth, the types. And the last one is the implementation of problem-based instruction. Problem-based instruction. According to Glaser, problem-based inquiry is an effort to challenge students to address real-world problems and resolve realistic dilemmas. Such problems create opportunities for meaningful activities that engage students in problem solving and higher order thinking in authentic setting. The problem-based learning model is focused on student activities. In the learning process, the teacher acts as a facilitator while students are required to be more active in asking, answering, arguing, reviewing opinions, and others. Problem-based learning is an effective approach to teaching higher order thinking processes. This learning helps students to process ready-made information in their minds and construct their own knowledge about the social world and its surrounding. Next is the framework of PBI. There are four. The framework of PBI. The first is situated cognition. Learning events are situated and assume meaning within particular context. In other words, learning is most meaningful and is enhanced when students face a situation in which the concept is immediately applied. The second is constructivism. Constructivist approaches to learning stress the general strategies and processes to attain broader goals without relying on specific information or methods that lead to sequential steps in logic and reasoning. The third is social learning. Problem-based inquiry is also based on a view that learning occurs through social interaction, whereby an outside source can help individuals extend their learning. This frame of reasoning suggests that understanding of an idea or concept becomes limited at the same point and approaches a barrier called the zone of proximal development. The last is communities of practice. Problem-based inquiry values the presence of a learning community. The community takes on a view that advancement in thinking and addressing the problem occurs through social interaction that emphasize joint enterprise, shared repertoire, and mutual engagement. Next is the characteristic of PBI. First, activity is grounded in a general questions about a problem that has multiple possible answers and methods of addressing the questions. Each problem has a general questions that guides the overall task, followed by ill-structured problems or questions that are generated throughout the problem-solving process. The second, learning is student-centered. The teacher acts as facilitator. In essence, the teacher creates an environment where the students take ownership in the direction and content of their learning. Also, students work collaboratively towards addressing the general questions. Working together provides motivation to continuously engage in a complex task and increases opportunities for inquiry and dialogue to develop social skills and thinking skills. Last, learning is driven by the context of the problem and is not bounded by an established curriculum. In this environment, students determine what and how much they need to learn in order to accomplish a specific task. Next is the types of problem-based instruction. Based on Glaser, there are 3 types of PBI. The first is problem-based learning or PBL. It is an instructional strategy in which students actively resolve complex problem and realistic situation. It can be used to teach individual lessons, unit, or even entire curricula. PBL is often approached in a team environment with emphasis on building skills related to consensual decision making, dialogue and discussion, team maintenance, conflict management, and also team leaderships. In designing the learning environment of PBL, there are four elements. You can see the pictures. The first picture is called problem generation. The graphic means that the problem must address concept and principle relevant to the content domain, real issues, have means for understanding the subject area, and incorporate multidisciplinary approach. Assuming the teacher can provide and coordinate needed resources such as additional content or instructional support. And the next picture is called problem presentation. The graphic tells that once students have ownership of the problem, they will solve the problem to find many solutions, but they will also ask further questions throughout this process to find the best solution. And the third is teacher role. The graphic shows that the students control, they learn, but the teachers continue to provide the tools and scaffolding they need to ensure that learning takes place. This scaffolding includes modeling, coaching, asking questions, support, direction, challenge thinking, and depend on extended ideas. And the last pictures is student role. From the graphic, the student's role in PBL and the step that students follow in order to solve a problems. The steps are: the first, problem with no solution. The second, develop alternative hypotheses to resolve problem. Next, access, evaluate, utilize data to refute or support hypotheses. Next, author, develop or synthesis hypothesis in a light of new environment. And the last, develop clearly stated solution. Solution can be done in many forms such as essays, presentation, or projects. The second type is anchored instruction. Anchored instruction is often considered to be a form of situated learning which connects prior knowledge to authentic situation. Students use the context provided to apply their knowledge of a particular idea, which further develop their understanding of the topic. Learning and teaching activities are designed around an anchor, which is often a story, adventure, or situation that includes a problem or issue to be resolved and that is of interest to the students. In designing anchored instruction, there are some elements that we have to be considered. You can see by the table. Anchored instruction focuses on an anchor that includes an interesting problem. Through the teacher guidance and the use of additional resources that require students' exploration, student learning experiences can be extended to other areas of the curriculum. This image of a table which organizes the six components of anchored instruction. The anchored instruction model has 6 steps throughout which the student transition as the anchored instruction project is completed. Each step is vital and facilitates a different learning goal. The introduction steps engage learners. The familiarization step gets learners familiar with the topic of the projects. The expansion step is an opportunity for the learners to research topic and also ideas. The planning step lets learners address the problem with their knowledge or skill. The transfer step is when learners explore how to apply what they learned in their experience to other contexts. And the last is share. The sharing step requires students to share with others about what they learned and thoughts about the experiences. And the last type is web quest. A web quest is a web-based inquiry-oriented activity through which students examine evidence about a particular topic and then respond to an issue or make a decision from a particular point of view. Essentially, web quests are mini projects in which a large percentage of the input and material is supplied by the internet. Web quests can be teacher made or learner made depending on the learning activity the teacher decides on. In designing web quest environment, exactly there are some elements that have to be considered. You can see the pictures. Teacher provides students with a series of internet links for solving a given problem. The problem is solved as the student create a final product. Web quests are online activities designed by the teacher to allow learners to become knowledgeable about a topic and respond to an issue. This graphic is of a spider web illustrating that the components of web quests work together like the parts of the web. Without one part, the others are less effective. WebQuest activities has 6 steps. The first introduction step provides background and context for the topics. The second explanation of tasks step sets the goal and the purpose for the activity. The next is process for accomplishing the task step involves the teachers scaffolding and facilitate information attainment of learners. And the fourth, like web resource tab, requires learners to access teacher approved web resources for information. Next, evaluation or rubrics tab provides learners with the processes by which they will be evaluated. And the last, conclusion tab, requires learners to connect what was learned to real life application as well as summarize their experiences and accomplishments throughout the web quest. The last, implementation of PBI. Problem-based inquiry approaches to learning provide students with strategies and experiences that empower them to become critical consumers of information and tackle authentic problems through group problem solving. The school day should provide students with opportunities to explore ideas in greater depth. Students in many middle and high school take 5 to 8 courses that last from 40 to 60 minutes each. This class structure encourages learning content in segmented blocks through information processing approaches. Implementing problem-based inquiry in a system with a short class periods ultimately derails the momentum of learning because students must continually start, stop, and recall information and procedures more frequently. Hence, in inquiry-based environments, teachers should relinquish some control over content. Teachers need to recognize the student may not naturally develop belief or accept their particular arguments of point of view. Also, in a problem-based inquiry approach, students must be given greater control over the direction and content of their learning. If teacher accepts students as equal contributors to learning community, then less emphasis will be placed on teacher-presented information. Instead, teachers can take responsibility for facilitating learning so that analysis, synthesis, evaluation, and extension of information by student assumes its proper role. Thank you very much everyone for your attention. I hope this knowledge can add our understanding and also our knowledge. If you have a question, please drop on WhatsApp group. Thank you very much. I'll see you.